Hey everybody, it's Mark, maakudesuyo, and this is our final day. We're about to check out here at Jetwing Lake in Dambulla, Sri Lanka. And it's kind of sad, I really enjoy this hotel. I like how it feels like I have an estate here. Like this is the land that I own. And I have a tea plantation over there. Anyways, it's Sri Lankan food time again. And it's curry every day, all day. Alright, what do we have here? Really cool thing, first they have western selection of bread. They have croissants and this regular bread roll. This brown roll that you see in Olive Garden in the US. But they have paprika butter and curry leaf butter. That's pretty interesting. Also delicious, 'cause I've been eating it for the past 3 days. First off, let's start with spoon and fork squad. Let's see. I don't know what to eat first. But we're gonna start with this little plate that I have here. It will be my first time trying this milk rice that I've had there in the buffet every single morning. It's basically these square blocks of rice that look like a very sticky rice. But I think what happens here is this is just kind of like normal short grain rice. It might be the brown kind actually, because it's brown, red brownish. And then it has probably coconut milk, but let's check it out. Wow, it's less sticky than I thought. Also, it tastes good. Not coconut milk, I think. I think it's actually regular milk. Lighter than I thought in terms of texture. Also, it's like eating porridge and champurrado at the same time, but without the chocolate. That's really hard to explain, but champurrado is this Filipino thing that's like chocolate, milk, rice, and lugao, the porridge, kind of all mixed together. It's really hard to explain. It's really good. This right here, this noodle looking thing, are actually not noodles. They call it string hopper. It's made out of like these bean type things and mash it together and become like noodle form. It actually, you eat it with some curry. At least that's what I surmised. It's kind of like you're eating rice because it has a very starchy texture to it. Chicken curry, real spicy. I've been eating it every single day since I got here. There's a reddish one. And there's a white one. They don't really have a taste difference. They're about the same. But I think texture-wise, the red one is more starchy. But they're pretty much the same. You got these tomato and cumin. I think it's cumin curry. So good. So we reserved this hotel in booking.com and I got the genius deal. It's a little bit of a percentage off. Very affordable. For only 3 nights it was like $270. I wonder if Jetwing will come at me like if they raise the prices and they're like, please take down that certain section because it's too cheap. We raise the prices now. I don't know. Anyways, it's a good deal for at least comparing to American hotels. And then through booking.com, I also put in there that I wanted breakfast for 2 people in the morning, which cost about $10, which is actually very expensive here in Sri Lanka. But for $10, breakfast, it's not bad. Like, it's a buffet. Come on, it's good. You don't have to worry about trying to look for food because actually you won't really find food here. You kind of have to go to town, which is about 10 minutes away via tuk-tuk or taxi. It's called Dal Wade. Dal Wade sounds like a name of a person. It tastes kind of like the tutong, like the hard section at the bottom of your rice cooker, and then like slightly more overcooked and crunchy with some spices in it. I really like it. Some people don't like it, I guess. Oh, hey, look, I found fish curry. It doesn't look like fish. Looks like chicken. It's kind of greenish. I think it's a freshwater fish. That's it for my current main plate. Next one is this one. This is called a hopper or appa. I think it's called appa. It's like a flying bison in Avatar. Look at this. It's shaped like a bowl. So I guess you could put stuff on it like curry. And there's like an egg in the middle of it. There's other versions, but this is like sort of like a pancake-like batter that they cook onto like this hot bowl-shaped pan. And then to the next of it, they have these little dipping, no, it's not it, side dish. One of them is a coconut-based one is a sweet onion, and the other one is onion and fish. This onion and fish one, it's a little bit like salsa of Mexico, but with fish, so it's got sourness to it. Salty, sour, spicy. Hard to cut. Actually by itself, it's kind of like eating a pancake. Kind of like a crunchy, you know, like in the pancake, you like if you make it really, really thin. Oh, kind of like a crepe, actually. I like to leave the center because it has the egg. The sweet onion thing is so good. They're basically caramelized onions, and it's not spicy at all. It's got another flavor going on there, so they must have put some sort of some kind of spice. Oh wait, no, cinnamon. That's what it is. I figured it out. And this other one will make you feel weird for most people, but it's coconut, which has a slightly sweet taste, right? The coconut shavings, the white part, but it has spice in it. It's really weird for most people. I still find it a little bit weird, but it's good. So definitely try it out. This is very Sri Lankan, the hopper. Yeah, just look for it in Sri Lanka and eat it. Anyways, I'm gonna keep eating now. This buffet is awesome. Jetwing is pretty cool. I would love to stay here again. It's a good place to stay at in Dambulla if you're gonna go visit Sigiriya, because it tends to be fully booked or really expensive out in Sigiriya where the Lion Rock is. So, alright. Tuk-tuk.
Alright, narration time. We decided that the cheapest and most interesting way to travel from Dambulla all the way down south to Galle was using a bus. So we asked the hotel staff to hail us a tuk-tuk, and we simply asked the driver to drop us off at the nearest bus station. We waited for one of those fancy air-conditioned buses to pass by, but we only noticed the iconic red public buses that looked absolutely packed like sardines. Then out of nowhere, a tuk-tuk driver approached us and said he could take us to Kurunegala Central Bus Station for a price that I couldn't care to remember. He said that there's a much higher chance we can find a private air-conditioned bus there that could take us straight down to Colombo. We decided to go with him, and it took us a little less than 2 hours to get to the Kurunegala bus station. On the way, we started noticing a bunch of festivities and people lined up for what seemed to be food, the most common being ice cream. The driver told us that that day was a Poya Day, which is a public holiday that happens every month when there is a full moon. This is why all the buses were packed and the reason why we couldn't see any of those air-conditioned buses. If you're ever traveling to Sri Lanka, keep note of when the Poya days are, and I advise you not to do any kind of long-distance traveling on those days. However, I do believe that it's a beautiful glimpse of Sri Lankan culture, and if it weren't for the fact that we were in a hurry to travel down to Galle, we would have stopped and mingled with the locals and probably obtained some delicious ice cream. By the way, an important side note, this was filmed in July 2019, just 3 months after the horrific terrorist Easter bombings in Colombo, where over 250 people died. My girlfriend and I contemplated on whether or not we should continue our trip, as there was still a travel advisory in place for Sri Lanka at the time. I'm glad we decided to go though, as there were much less tourists. However, I did feel the desperation of many Sri Lankans who were hoping to make a lot of money from tourists after Sri Lanka was just named one of the top island destinations for 2019. When we finally arrived to Kurunegala bus station, we were so relieved to see some of these air-conditioned buses. However, to our dismay and frustration, they did not let us ride. First, they were not just completely booked, they were overbooked because of Poya Day. Second, we were carrying large suitcases that they didn't have room for. We just stood at the station in shock for a few moments until one of the public bus drivers said that they can take us to Colombo. The bus was already full, but we squeezed in at the very front where there was a bit of space to hold our suitcases in place with our knees. The bus had no air conditioning and got hotter and hotter as we stopped by every single bus stop and picked up more and more passengers. The bus had no seatbelts and the driver accelerated fast and slammed on the brake just as fast. It was an absolutely jarring experience that we had to endure for about 3 hours. The only good thing about the bus was that it only cost around $1.50 for the both of us. That's right, $1.50. Unbelievably cheap. When we arrived at the Colombo bus station, I was hoping there would be nice air-conditioned taxis that we could splurge on, as we were so exhausted from riding a tuk-tuk for 2 hours and a dizzying bus for 3 hours. It was not that kind of station, and I asked some tuk-tuk drivers and one of them said they could take us to where they have taxis. So we were like, okay, thanks. Then he took us to where they had vans, claiming that all the taxis are probably full because of Poya. He started asking for a ridiculous price, and then we realized that the tuk-tuk driver was trying to scam us. He's one of the desperate ones. Then my girlfriend had the brilliant idea of having him just drop us off at a nearby hotel lobby where we can ask the hotel staff to call a taxi for us. When he realized we were onto him, he took us to a hotel, which looked like a rundown guest house. Thankfully, I spotted a big hotel right across called the Shalimar Hotel. He still tried to pester us and follow us around until we got inside the hotel. We told the receptionist our situation and he agreed to call up a friend who is a private taxi driver. The receptionist was a very nice man who even let us use the bathrooms and basically guarded us from the scamming tuk-tuk driver. Please consider their hotel in case you ever plan to visit Colombo. The taxi driver was also very nice and he spoke great English. It turned out that he actually works for the tourism board and is a great tour guide. We felt very comfortable in his car and we arrived at Galle with great speed and we couldn't be more grateful for him. So much so that we asked him to drive us around and to the airport on our very last day in Sri Lanka. Although there are some desperate people in Sri Lanka trying to scam tourists, there are much more wonderful and kind-hearted individuals who will gladly show you the beauty of their country. So all in all, the moral of the story is probably plan your Sri Lankan trip a little bit more and also don't do some ridiculous long distance traveling during Poya Day. Alright, that's it guys. I'll see you in the next one. Jenny.